Hello, Airbus Cockpit Coach here, and welcome back to the channel. You'll join me today for a full flight from here at London Luton, my home base in the real world, heading up to Belfast City. Today, using the ToLiss A319, one of my favourite aircraft to fly, the A319 in the real world, mostly due to its performance. It is a great fun aircraft, and one I very much enjoy flying. For that reason, you do notice the difference, quite overpowered. It's also got good range as well, so have operated this aircraft in the last week to Athens, for example. So those 3 to 4 hour sectors, you will find this aircraft on the same as the A320. So it's all a case of capacity. Today, using Sayintentions.ai for a bit of ATC. It doesn't inject the traffic, so that's one thing we're missing. I've thrown in Traffic Global just for a bit of traffic immersion, so we'll have to watch out for any kamikaze aircraft on the taxiways. I'm also using my new IIDB Captain's Tiller. Now that's a great investment. Digital sensor, dual bearing, backlit, nice and compact on the desk in front of me, so we're giving that a go. I'm very pleased with that purchase. Real world weather, and we'll be using RealOps for our boarding today as well. So that's something a little bit similar to GSX in the MSFS world, Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's just a bit of boarding immersion. It's not quite as advanced as GSX, but it does help if you want that level of immersion. Throwing back in with ground handling, so we'll give that a go very shortly. So we're cold and dark, let's jump in and get set up. Obviously, coming into the cockpit, we would have all sorts of paperwork to check, things to sign. That's one thing that's good about Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't have to sign anything. I must sign 30 things for every flight, so we're not missing the signing. But yeah, we will be looking at things like technical log, aircraft status, ground handling, bits of paper that come flying through the door, all those kind of things, making sure the logbooks are there up to date, the aircraft's being maintained correctly, and we've got all our licenses and things as well. So, you know, any point in time, we may get a gate check by the Civil Aviation Authority. They can turn up, and I have had this happen quite a few times. They will check your licenses, your currency. Are you fit to fly this aircraft? Is the aircraft fit to fly? You know, checking through those documents. So that does happen. Once we've got the paperwork side of things sorted, we can go and get the aircraft set up. So do a few safety checks. So weather and particular wind shears off. Engine masters are off. Most selectors normal. Transponders off. Gear levers down. Wipers are off. Battery voltages are above 25.5. So we can turn those on. And we'll connect the external power, which is available, and bring the aircraft to life. Just get our screens fired up before we do the APU fire test and get a bit of air conditioning on. External power and shocks is what we've got in place. That's good. Get the crew supply on. Ground control on. Captain's position. Let's get these going as well. We'll get the nav lights on. Haven't refueled yet, so leave the seatbelts off for a moment. APU fire test now. I can't drag down and look at what lights up down here in this aircraft. It's a little bit frustrating. So normally we're looking for the master warning and our ECAM alert for the APU fire, but we'll presume that's a good test. We wouldn't obviously presume in the real world. It's looking sensible up there. We can throw the first officer out for the walk around today, and we can bring up. Actually, we can get now the aircraft is safe, so we can get real ops going. So import from SimBrief, so stairs, catering, fueling, boarding as well. So just tick these options. There are options to change your ground handling agent and things in the plugin as well. Let me start that service. We'll jump outside and just have a quick look at that. See what's going on. So we have some people pulling in stairs. They are actually pulled in at this airport generally. I'm wondering if it's lining up for an A320. I may need to adjust something actually in my settings. That this may be me, so disregard. So there's different models, and I don't think I've adjusted it down to be the A319. And if it'll auto correct itself now. Because you can select different aircraft, so that's probably me. That's probably my bad. Rather than just being completely out. Because I have seen it line up nicely with the A320 on a quick test. So yeah, same there. That would probably line up if it was the A320. So I think that's the issue. But yep, you get the gist. It throws in a bit of handling immersion, right? So all very nice. Let's take a quick look at a flight plan for this one. So today we're going to be easy 678 Yankee. Zero fuel weight 54.7 tons. Fuel 4.7. Underload of 3.7 tons. Cost index 4, cruising at 380. Expecting to be minus 59. Above the tropopause today. Max shear rate 2.6 at Ramsey. Flight plan is taking us out of 07 for 380, only to Charlie, coming into Belfast 22, where there's no standard terminal arrival routes there. Let's just scroll down and look at the charts for the big picture view. This is usually something I do on my electric pad before I get to the airport. Just having a look what's going on in the day. So significant weather, no significant weather for our routes, so that's great. Light winds. Mostly pushing up from the south, and we're above the tropopause. Nothing there that jumps out of any concern, and let's just find the airport weather detail. There are no TAMs all here, all a bit irrelevant because they're not mirrored in the sim. Obviously we would have a good check through no TAMs as well. So here at departure, we're at variable 2 knots actually, so we may actually get runway 25. So we'll see what the ATIS says. All the 9s, visibility 10 kilometers more, no cloud, 11 degrees 1016. A slightly worsening picture expected through the day, with visibility decreasing and some light rain showers with a dropping cloud base. Pretty standard British stuff. Manchester 170 at 4, it's variable, all the 9s, no cloud, no sig. Again, a worsening picture, but nothing scary. Standard British rain showers. And Belfast City, a bit windier, 200 at 13, Northern 9s, few at 2,400 feet, 13 degrees, 1012. And again, there's a 30% chance of some rain moving in between 10 and 1800, with some reducing visibility to 8,000 metres. And between 9 and 1800, it's forecasted to be 208 knots. 200 degrees, 8 knots, all the 9s scattered 3,000, so there's nothing there in the overall picture weather-wise that suggests we need to take additional fuel. I'm pretty happy with that big picture view of the flight today, so no changes needed. That is the routing, so let's get rid of that. Now I do have my external MCDU, the Wing MCDU, which I can use. You won't see what I'm doing so much, so init request should pull in. Routes correct, alternates correct, 678 Yankee, cost index 4, 380, tropopause is correct. And before we get set up, I'll just go into Sayintentions and tune the ATIS.
E-freight area, maintain vigilance. Advise on initial contact, you have information hotel. London Luton Airport, information hotel. 1050 Zulu. Arriving and departing runway 25.
25, there we go.
Wind calm. Visibility 10.
In which case we'll switch to the
Sky
only 2
clear.
Bravo.
Temperature 11, dew point 6. QNH 1016. Transition level 70. Drone activity reported in the freight area. Maintain vigilance.
Right.
Advise on initial contact, you have information hotel.
Let's just get rid of that then. Hotel. The odd drone flying around and a runway change. There we go, that's all we need to know. And runway 22 for Belfast we put in has no standard terminal arrival route. Okay, nothing we need really in the RadNav for departure there. Pretty standard. We can achieve based on that information currently our optimal, above optimal slightly, but yeah, 380 is what we want, and that's achievable. 390 being the max. Let's just run a check of our performance, the takeoff performance. The runway 25, intersection Alpha 1 departure. Just reset that. So 19, I know these figures off the top of my head, actually 1,982 meters to Alpha 1. 151 at 3, it was calm, but that seems sensible. We were 1016, weren't we? So we'll throw that in. It's dry out there, there's no standing water puddles from any earlier rain. Try obviously flex, and 1 plus F is what we would compute to start with. So flexing 67, 32, 36, 38, green dot 20.204. We can uplift that, I think. Let's see, that maps over. Sieve-tated, right, that's what we want. So 12, dry, 32, 32, 36 was it? 32, 36, 38. I'm going to adjust those. 6138. I'm not sure why that, it might be me. I'm not too familiar with that menu. In terms of how we map that over. So engine outs 1,000 feet above aerodrome level, thrust reduction 1,500 feet. Happy with that. The airport's just over 500 feet above sea level, which is why you've got the additional height there. So clean speed 204, that's important. That matches up. So what's in the aircraft matches with the external calculations, and there's no errors there. If you do get an error, it usually shows up in a difference in the green dot speed. Normally we would have a prelim load sheet. That's something that's modelled in the Phoenix, for example. We don't have that here. It's all a bit standard, I suppose, but in terms of mapping through the process, we would check through what we're expecting and run performance calculations on those. So what's going on outside? Oh, someone is getting on board. That's probably our last passenger, actually, so they may well pull the stairs back. We can get the seatbelts on. We can get the APU on, because the cabin will be warming up. This is where I miss having a first officer to sort all these bits out. Just cross-check that fuel, so 4960. Got a bit of extra fuel, actually. Not very accurate refueling. Now, Real Ops doesn't adjust the fuel level from what I can see, so $4759 fuel weight. Let me just see where I need to adjust this down. So 13922 set the current. Just going to adjust that fuel slightly. 4,800. Just so we're matching up with our calculations, that's all. Right, that is a lot of birds. Okay, interesting. Not uncommon to see a lot of seagulls out here, but flying around. But yeah, okay, everything's clear, so we can get set up. So let me just get clearance. Clearance low, easy 678 Yankee, gate 7, information hotel, QNH 1016, A319 requesting IFR clearance to Belfast City.
Luton clearance. Hello, Wizard 1999 request IFR to Larnaca.
Stand by, you're number 1. Easy 678 Yankee, cleared to Belfast City via the Olney 2 Charlie departure, expect runway 07. Initial climb to 4,000 feet, departure on 129.55, squawk 7555.
Belfast City, only 2 Charlie departure, runway 07, initial climb to 4,000 feet, departure 129.55, squawk 7555, easy 678 Yankee. Runway change again. Doesn't match the ATIS, does it?
Easy 678 Yankee, read back correct. Ground is on 121.755, safe flight, sir.
Ground 121.755. Good day, sir. Only 2 Charlie, and the stop climb 4,000 feet is in and blue.
Delivery easy 21 Hotel Yankee at stand
7555 in the box.
IFR clearance to Malaga as filed. We have information Victor on board.
Heading to George Best, Belfast City Airport.
Right, I'm not sure why our ideas aren't aligning. 0 minutes. It's been some time. Let me see if I can do. Force it.
Lion Air 11 Juliet Quebec.
There we go.
Request the IFR flight to NAC Airport with information. Zulu.
Luton clearance November 6 Tango, Quebec request IFR flight.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
Clear to Bristol, London 1, Charlie departure runway 07, initial climb 4000, squawk 6355, November 6 Tango, Quebec.
Luton ground, hello, easy 678 Yankee, stand 7 requesting push and start.
Easy 678 Yankee, push and start approved, face southwest.
Push and start approved, face southwest, easy 678 Yankee. Right, better push back.
The cockpit, please show me where you want to go.
Alright.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release parking brake.
Parking brake released.
Starting pushback and you may start engines.
Okay, so you need to start push and then got it. Clear, we are cleared to start engines. Takeoff data is confirmed, windows are closed. Doors. Unlock that as well. Beacon is on. Remain clear of the line. We can start engine 1. Wait selected ignition start, starting 1. Engine 1 avail, starting 2. So pushback seems to be a little bit wobbly.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Disconnecting tows. Stand by.
Engine 2 avail. I use my hardware for that. put the taxi light on now. I normally would wait to the ground crew were well away, but and clear the taxi, but getting organised. Let's pick spots to play around with. After
ToLiss is connected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have a safe flight.
Thank you, sir. See you next time. Okay. After start checklist, anti-ice is not required, and off. ECAM status is checked. Pitch trim 29. Which, I mean, you can use the up 0.4 if you wanted to line it up that way. Normally we just go through motions there. I'd set it about there, which is actually 0.2, so in the real world, so there's a little bit of a difference. But as long as you're in the green band, that's the key thing. That's my hand signal. And Easy 678 Yankee, request taxi.
Easy 678 Yankee, runway 07, taxi via Bravo.
Runway 07, taxi via Bravo, Easy 678 Yankee. Okay, parking brake released. Cleared left side, cleared right side. And brake check. Pressure 0. Flight control checks. Pull up. Pull down. Neutral. Pull left. Trying to think something linked there. Pull left. Pull right. Neutral. I thought my ailerons were linked to my nose wheel, which wouldn't be good. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Water brake armed.
EasyJet UK flight 643 to George Best Belfast City Airport. Our estimated flight time is approximately 45 minutes. Please pay close attention to the upcoming safety demonstration, as it contains important information for everyone, even our frequent flyers.
Okay, taxi checklist. Light controls are checked. Flap setting config 1+F confirmed.
Seatbelt must be fastened whenever the seatbelt sign is
FMA climb nav blue 1FD2 133 blue 140 magenta stop climb 4000 blue QNH 1016.
All mobile phones and electronic devices must be set to flight mode, and larger devices should be secured.
Radar and predictive wind shear
takeoff and landing.
we can turn on once we get on the straight.
Including e-cigarettes, is
This is where we come rolling off.
including the lavatories. Oxygen masks will drop automatically if needed. Pull the mask firmly, place it over your nose and mouth, and breathe normally. Remember to secure your own mask before assisting others. Life vests are located under your
ECAM ammo,
seat
takeoff.
To
No
use,
blue.
pull it out, place it over your head, and fasten it. Inflate only
Hot
after
spots.
leaving the aircraft.
Clear right side, clear left side.
Special life vests for children are available. Floor level lighting will guide you to the nearest exit, which is clearly marked. There are 2 exits located at the front and 2 at the rear of the aircraft. The nearest exit may be behind you.
Loving this tiller.
In case of evacuation,
IIDB captain's tiller.
behind and follow the crew's instructions.
Must have.
If any electronic device becomes hot or shows signs of damage, please inform a crew member right away. For more details, please refer to the safety information card in your seat pocket. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, no changes to performance. We can get the TCAS on as well. TARA. Check out the approach.
Easy 678 Yankee, contact tower on 126.73, bye-bye.
12673, easy 678 Yankee, thank you. Tower, hello, easy 678 Yankees approaching Bravo 1 for departure.
Easy 678 Yankee, Luton Tower, runway 07, winds 120 at 4, cleared for takeoff.
Clear takeoff 07, easy 678 Yankee. Okay, approach is clear, nothing on TCAS. Nothing seen, runway's clear. Line-up checks, cabin is secured. Runway 07 confirmed. TCAS is TARA and packs 1 and 2 are off. Line-up checklist complete.
126.73 for clearance, Titan 660.
And we can take it rolling.
You're number 1.
Take off.
Luton Tower, Titan 660 is holding Alpha 1, ready for takeoff.
Engine stable.
Titan 660.
Man flex 67. SRS runway. Auto thrust blue. Press set. 100 knots.
Tower, can you repeat that?
B1. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. AP1.
EG678 Yankee, contact Luton radar on 129.55.
Radar 129.55. EZ678 Yankee. Good day. Okay, lever climb. Thrust climb. Auto thrust. Radar hello, EZ678 Yankees passing 2,800 for 4,000. Only 2 Charlie departure.
EG678 Yankee, Luton radar identified. Climb 6,000.
Climb altitude 6,000 feet. EZ678 Yankee. Flaps 1, speed checks, flaps 1, 6,000 blue.
Yankee, climb flight level 220.
Climb flight level 220, EZ678 Yankee. 220. Standard.
Yankee, maintain flight level 220.
Climb and maintain flight level 220, EZ678 Yankee. Okay, 220 blue. Cabin is pressurizing. Aircraft sticking to those turns pretty well. Approaching flight level 100. Nothing to clear in the rad nav. So we're standard. Gear up, we're clean.
Dear guests, we are pleased to inform
Progress page.
you that electronic devices is
We can achieve 380.
our cabin service will begin
And I'm happy to take the seatbelts off.
for your attention and we hope you enjoy your flight with EasyJet UK.
Airport's on.
EG678 Yankee, climb flight level 300.
Climb flight level 300, easy 678 Yankee. Normally we just say flight level 300, but I find if I say 300, it makes me repeat, so I have to copy what he says. Flight level 300 blue. So expecting Belfast at 1310, 3.8 tonnes of fuel. It's currently 1224 UTC. And 1.5 remaining for the alternate.
EG678 Yankee, climb flight level 380.
Nice flying conditions today. Once you get up here, GSX does look pretty good. Sorry, not GSX, X-Plane. Have a look outside.
EG678 Yankee, contact London Control on 130.925.
London on 130.925, easy 678 Yankee, good day. London Control, Easy 678 Yankees with you, direct Cooper, climbing flight level 300.
Easy 678 Yankee, London Control identified. Good afternoon. Channel 0176, London Control identified. Good afternoon.
London Control, Channel 0176, request flight level 370.
Not tailwind, quite light winds as we saw on the chart earlier, coming up from the south. The voice recognitions on Sayintentions.ai has been pretty good. It's caught everything so far. I noticed the transition from ground to tower approaching the runway was better than when I've last used it. I always used to struggle with where are you, say again, that kind of thing. The real test will be the approach handling. I am very impressed with the handling of this aircraft, it has to be said. So the ToLiss, the whole ToLiss fleet, so I've gone and purchased, I bought them all. I think they're great. Comparing them to how the real world sim that I train in handles, this is close. Okay, approaching 300. Speed out star. And London Easy 678 Yankee, request further climb.
Easy 678 Yankee, say again please.
Easy 678 Yankees requesting a further climb.
Easy 678 Yankee, climb flight level 380.
Climb flight level 380, Easy 678 Yankee. Cross climb, open climb 380 blue.
We invite you to try our popular items, including the delicious chicken wrap and refreshing fruit juice. After the service, selected items from our EasyJet shop will be available for you to browse. Thank you for choosing to fly with us today, and we hope you enjoy your flight.
Also very rare that I get a performance issue in the simulator. It just tends to work. So I do not spend hours and hours trying to configure this sim so I can do something like I'm doing now, which is recording a video, which is great. So generally running this at pretty high to max settings, I'll just leave it as that, and I don't really play with anything at all with this simulator, which is great. I'm using the map enhancement tool, so it seems to be loading in. There's a difference there in terms of the map it's loading, which is an obvious immersion killer. But I do have settings to adjust and play around with that, and it might just be because I've got seasonal differences enabled. approaching Trent, Tango November Tango. Shortly to be a beam, Manchester Airport. One thing I'm very impressed with the weather in terms of its realism and the effect it has on the aircraft. I was thinking about one of the, I think it's Active or X-Sky, Active Sky, seeing what that does in terms of the simulator, because that's supposed to make it even more immersive. So I am thinking about just trying out one of those packages. I've been trying out all sorts, to be honest. Just seeing what gives me the best effect in terms of realism. It's a very short cruise, so once we get up there shortly, just past Rodol, will be a left turn and top of descent. So Belfast City, 2:10 at 13. We need to get the latest weather. Flaps 3 also very low. That gets us in the 184 metre margin, and that's because we've got the 13 knot headwind on the nose. There we go, that's the reason. I thought, oh, that's quite sporty for Belfast, but yeah, the headwind explains it. So we'll do that. We'll do landing flaps 3. Let's just bring up our charts for Belfast. The ILS 22. So straight ahead to 3000 on the go around. Then a left turn directed back to the locator. They're holding at 3000, so 3000 is the missed approach altitude. Platform altitude of 2000 feet, 3 degree ILS, minimums of 212. Inbound course 217. That's the information that we need. So 212. Put that in. Also very low, and it was config 3, wasn't it? We wanted a VAP speed of 135. Mac old cruise, we're at 380.
Good afternoon, Captain Airbus Cockpit Coach. Would you like anything to drink or a small snack while we cruise?
A small snack could be lovely, thank you. I wasn't expecting that. Sorry about that volume. Didn't even know I had that set up, but there we go. That's my flight attendant provided by Sayintentions.ai. So Sayintentions.ai is providing obviously the ATC, but also the cabin announcements and that intercom service as well, which I probably need to turn down a little bit, don't I? Let's have a look. Didn't even know that was a thing. There we go, I'm getting a snack. Take a moment while we're cruising just to look at the airport as well. So short runway, 6,000 feet, 1829 metres, coming in 22, so over the bay. And we'll vacate left either at Alpha 2 or just roll to the end Alpha 3. Preference will be to let it roll actually with auto, with flat 3. Although we are on the A319, it will slow down okay in that distance. Just so we don't cook the brakes really. So this is more of a performance check, making sure everything works. We can get back on with live streaming and getting some other videos out as well. So it's just first time an X-plane really doing any sort of length of recording. You would have seen plenty of shorts I've been posting out. That's me testing the aircraft out really on the different approaches, and it does behave very well. And it's not that I'm sitting here every day making shorts. I do tend to bulk make those in a couple of hours. In 2 hours I can make 2 weeks worth of shorts, so chuck those out. So it's not here that I'm sitting here all the time, but sometimes that's all I have time for, because the real world has been pretty busy actually in terms of training and line flying. Okay, approaching our top of descent mark. I'll put terrain on my side with the descent segment. And Easy 678 Yankee requesting descent.
Easy 678 Yankee, when you're ready, descend flight level 270.
When ready, descend flight level 270, Easy 678 Yankee. Descending now. 270, blue, thrust idle descent.
Easy 678 Yankee, descend flight level 270.
Descend flight level 270, Easy 678 Yankee. Cabin crew, top of descent.
Easy 678 Yankee, expect lower in approximately 65 miles.
Roger, Easy 678 Yankee.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now left our cruising altitude and are beginning our approach to George Best Belfast City Airport. Please return to your seats, stow your tray tables and fasten your seat belts. The use of lavatories is no longer permitted. Thank you for your cooperation as we prepare for landing.
The basic term.
Skyhawk 3 Alpha Zulu, negative, remain outside controlled airspace, squawk conspicuity and free call London information for further assistance while VFR.
There's no standard terminal arrival route for this one. What I will do can't see the flag. I'm going to use my wing MCDU at EGGW. Put in as a reference and a radius of 30 miles. And what that will do is put that range ring on.
Shuttle
Shuttle 12 Zulu.
So within 30 miles of the airport, ideally you want to be flight level 100, 250 knots, 250 knots, which is pretty much IBTES. So just to help with the descent planning. So we went to IBTES, so we're actually going to be flight level 100 and 10,100 feet, flight level 10.1. So that actually works out. So this is a bit of a check. We could hard tune flight level 100 there if we wanted to, just to make sure we're getting in a nice planned manner.
Ryanair 986, contact approach on 126.825.
Contact approach on 126.825, Ryanair 9.
Charlie Tango, passing 20,600 for flight level 330.
Lufthansa 8 Charlie Tango, climb flight level 390.
Flight level 390, Lufthansa 8 Charlie Tango.
Shuttle 12 Zulu, descend via RIMTO 2 November to flight level 090 into Newcastle.
One thing to watch with a headwind like that, 13 knots. That's free in an A319. It's quite it'll be quite floaty. You will find the aircraft will float a bit. Obviously a short runway, so we just need to keep an eye out for that. Speed alt star 270. Easy 678 Yankee, request further descent.
Easy 678 Yankee, descend 16,000.
Descend flight level 160, easy 678 Yankee. That's incorrect. Should be 160. Fast idle open descent 160 blue. Descent.
Shuttle 12 Zulu, contact Scottish Control on 128.055.
Catching that profile back up. the Isle of Man just coming into view ahead.
Easy 678 Yankee, contact Scottish Control on 133.05.
Contact Scottish 133.05, easy 678 Yankee, good day. Scottish Control, easy 678 Yankees with you, descending flight level 160, direct mass up.
Easy 678 Yankee, Scottish Control, identified. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Easy 678 Yankee, cross IBTS at or above flight level 120.
Cross IBTS at or above flight level 120, easy 678 Yankee.
I'll have your clearance in just a second.
Easy 678 Yankee, contact Belfast approach on 130.85.
Contact Belfast approach 130.85, easy 678 Yankee. Belfast approach, easy 678 Yankees with you, descending flight level 160, direct IDGAS. Speed.
Easy 678 Yankee, Belfast approach identified. Good afternoon. Expect the ILS runway 22 approach into Belfast.
Expect the ILS 22 approach into Belfast, easy 678 Yankee, thank you.
Easy 678 Yankee, expect the ILS runway 22 approach.
Expect the ILS 22, easy 678 Yankee.
Easy 678 Yankee, contact Scottish Control on 133.05.
That's where we've just been. Scottish 133.05, easy 678 Yankee. Crossed idle. Scottish low, easy 678 Yankees with you.
Easy 678 Yankee, Scottish Control identified. Good afternoon.
Alright, speed out star 160. Was a bit of an early handoff to Belfast approach, I thought. And easy 678 Yankees requesting further descent.
Easy 678 Yankee, descend 9,000.
Descend 9,000, flight level 90, easy 678 Yankee. 90, not 9,000. Fast idle descent. Wanted
Easy 678 Yankee, descend flight level 070.
Descend flight level 070, easy 678 Yankee. We'd normally just say 70.
Easy 678 Yankee, descend at your discretion.
Descend at our discretion, easy 678 Yankee. So, in that case, we can take out the restriction outed tests. Keep it going down. But unusual to have a clearance at your discretion to descend. Start to get the seatbelts on now. Turn the landing lights on a bit early.
Expecting Mark 1 Mike arrival, decency in at the front, easy town.
Easy 712, contact London Control 1.
I want to see this much. Turn around to bye-bye.
Open descent. A little bit of speed brake to help us out. Get that speed back.
Easy 678 Yankee, turn right heading 350 vectors for the ILS runway 22 approach.
Right, heading 350 vectors ILS 22, easy 678 Yankee. Let's see where Sayintentions is going to take us for this one. Okay, flight level 100, speed coming back 250.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now beginning our final approach into Belfast. Please turn off all electronic devices and stow them until we arrive at the gate. Kindly put your tray tables away and ensure your seats are in their full upright position with your seatbelts fastened. The weather in Belfast is clear and pleasant. Our assigned gate is Terminal Gate 3. Thank you for your cooperation as we prepare for landing.
How come the cabin crew know which gate we're assigned to and I don't? It's interesting. Did you say gate 3, I think? Interesting.
Turn right heading 13 series, U5240. Can I also confirm where this is for? Control, this is EC5240. Where you sending me?
This is quite a detour, this heading.
Echo at flight level 330.
Skyhawk 123 Alpha Zulu, Scottish Control, identified. Good afternoon.
Okay, approaching 70.
Easy 678 Yankee, turn left heading 320.
Left heading 320, easy 678 Yankee. It's better. speed alt 70. We're below profile, so we'll hold it there for now. Profile's just coming in. An easy 678 Yankee, request further descent. Was at discretion, but I'll double check.
Easy 678 Yankee, descend altitude 3,000 feet, QNH 1011.
Descend altitude 3,000 feet, QNH 1011, easy 678 Yankee.
Easy 678 Yankee, descend altitude 3,000 feet, turn left heading 290.
Descend altitude 3,000 feet, left heading 290, easy 678 Yankee. Okay, that's more like it. One 1011.
Belfast approach now, 130.85, thank you ATC, have a good day, bye bye.
Easy 678 Yankee, proceed direct FF22, descend altitude 2,000 feet until established on the localizer, cleared for the ILS runway, 22 approach.
Cleared Foxtrot 22, descend altitude 2,000 feet, cleared at localizer, ILS runway 22, easy 678 Yankee. Okay, we're heading towards the final approach fix. Sending altitude 2000, that's blue. Cat 3 dual autopilot 1 and 2. Lock glide slate blue. Okay, approach checklist. Bravo ref 1011 set, passing 41 now. Seatbelts are on. Minimums 212 set. Auto air brake low confirmed. Approach checklist complete.
Turn right heading 130, C5240. Can I also confirm where this is for? Control, this is EC5240. Where you sending me?
The
only problem with Sayintentions, it's just recording all this random chat.
I'm going to Glasgow Airport, landing there.
This does destroy the immersion a little bit, doesn't it? Okay, so Sayintentions vectors us out a little bit wide, but actually we've got a good angle here to intercept the ILS.
2,500.
Checked. 1906 at 15. It will be pretty much on the nose as we come down the approach. It checks out.
$2,000.
2,000 level off. Cabin crew, seats for landing, please. Seats for landing.
Scottish Control, easy 235, 34,036 now.
Easy 235, Scottish Control identified, good afternoon.
I'm not going to turn left heading 140, easy 5240.
Easy 5240, descend flight level 060.
Flaps 1. Speed checks, flaps 1.
Easy 678 Yankee, contact Belfast Tower on 122.83.
Belfast Tower 122.83, easy 678 Yankee, good day. Belfast Tower, easy 678 Yankees with you. Flaps 2, speed checks, flaps 2. Fly slopes coming down.
678 Yankee, Belfast Tower, roger, continue approach runway 22.
Continue approach, easy 678 Yankee. Lock star, glide slope star.
Easy 678 Yankee, runway 22, wind 200 at 13, cleared to land.
Clear to land, 22, easy 678 Yankee, thank you. Runway visual. And gear down. Spoilers armed. Flaps free. Speed checks. Flaps free. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured. Go around altitude is 3,000 blue. Eco memo. Landing no blue. Landing checklist complete. So it's giving us 12 knots on the nose, 4 knots across.
1,000.
Autopilot coming out. Right, director's off, bird on. My control.
$500.
And shifting around very slightly.
400.
Yes,
300. 100 above.
Expect runway 22, initial climb to Hotel, start from 130, that's 85, well, 74,
200. Minimum.
Continue.
Belfast, delivery, Sharp 5, Papa with information.
100.
UNH 1021, Airbus A320, we are requesting IFR clearance to
30,
London Heathrow.
20, retard, 10, 5.
Clearance to Heathrow. After departure, fly radar vectors to Duffy. Departure runway is 22, initial climb.
Spoilers. First green. Diesel.
85, 7347. Shuttle flight number
17 out. Manual braking.
Auto brake off.
Pilot deviation. Easy 678 Yankee, taxi to Terminal Gate 3 via Alpha, monitor this frequency.
Taxi gate 3 via Alpha, easy 678 Yankee.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to George Best Belfast City Airport. Did you know that Belfast is home to the Titanic Quarter, where the famous ship was built? Thank you for flying with EasyJet UK. Please remain seated until we reach our
Clear right side. Clear left side.
flight crew. Thank you for flying with EasyJet UK. The local time here is 2:10 p.m.
What's up? Spoilers. Clean the aircraft up. So, gates 3.
Shuttle base Bravo located at Alpha 2. Located at Alpha 2. Shuttle 86 Bravo.
Loving this new tiller.
Shuttle 86 Bravo, can you repeat that?
Off runway 22 at Alpha 2. Request taxi to gate.
Parking brake sets. Now we need a little bit more engine cool down time. Blocks to block there was 1 hour 3 minutes. Should have taken the noise light off for all these things. You need a first officer for a pilot monitoring to tick off for you. Anyway, while we're waiting for this cooldown, we can have a look at the replay. So if we wind back, where are we going? How far back? Oh, that's a good place.
Easy 678 Yankee, runway 22, winds 200 at 13, cleared to land.
Where do we want to see it from? Rear view first. I just love how X-Plane's so stable and you just throw in a replay, right? So nice feature. No extra apps to have to remember to load up. It's always recording.
Tower, Walker 419, stand 7 Alpha with installation Juliet, request an IFR clearance to London Luton. I'm working on that clearance, stand by. London Heathrow, radar vector, stop the off runway 22, initial climb 3000, departure 130.85, squawk 6317, Walker 419. Good evening, Belfast, delivery Shuttle 5 Papa with information Delta UNH 1021 Airbus A320. We are requesting IFR clearance to London Heathrow.
Belfast City Tower, good morning, Osprey 4 Golf Charlie, looking to pick up my IFR clearance to Southampton. Looking to pick up my IFR clearance to Southampton, please.
I'll have you clearance in just a second.
Southampton is filed after radio vectors of runway 22 to Duffy, departure runway 622, that's flight 4000, departure 130, only get 5.
Nice.
Osprey, full Golf Charlie.
Belfast Tower, Gradient 123. We'd like to pick up our code, Bravo, please.
March 1 radar vector CG Victor Papa Oscar 66. Runway 22 initial climb 4000, departure on 130.85, squawk 7741, gradient 123.
Belfast City Tower, Skyways 521 with an information X-ray. Request IFR clearance to Cardiff as filed. Cardiff, after departure fly radar vectors Duffy. Runway 4, initial climb 4000, departure 130.85, squawk 4424. Skyways 521.
Right, there we go. I'm going to shut the engines down now. Enjoyed that. Nice and safe. Got us down. Wasn't particularly procedural, but it was more of a systems test. I'm particularly enjoying my new tiller though. That's made a nice immersion difference, and part of flying that was actually not very enjoyable in the sim. The ground handling side of things is actually pretty good, actually. In fact, I'm enjoying it. So let's just set this up for deboarding. See what happens. Real ups.
Echo Mike Delta, say again. Copied, parking stand 5 for Echo Mike Delta.
Oh, didn't turn my strobes off today. This is me not being very procedural. I thought I hit that on the way in, actually. Have the AP on for a minute. Yeah, I think I've selected the wrong aircraft. I'll check that for the next one. Here comes our electric bus, which isn't heavily loaded at the back. Strange how that one's below the ground and this one isn't. What's that all about? Interesting how it opens the front door, not the rear door as well. Yeah, it does add to the immersion. It does line up correctly. I have seen it do that. So
November, contact departure on 130.85.
Contacting
don't get too hung up about that.
130.85, shuttle 5 November.
I enjoyed that bit of a test. So yeah, lots of things on the go there. in terms of ATC. ATC was better. It probably took us a little bit of a detour, but it got us in at the right angle, it got us in safely. It didn't lose track of what it was supposed to do, so the handoffs are a little bit, you know, we didn't need to go from Scottish to Belfast approach back to Scottish. So that was a bit strange, but other than that, it was a good experience with Sayintentions. And my snack from the flight attendant during the flights, much appreciated. I'm going to go off and explore enhanced weather options and see if that's something I want to throw in as well. And I look forward to seeing on the next one, hopefully a live stream perhaps. Now this is seems to be working okay and nice and stable. All the plugins working. Hope you enjoyed that. Give the video a thumbs up if you did, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.